someone told me that I should stream, and I was
Mm,
like, "What would I stream?"
that's a good idea. That's a better question.
I know,
Like,
right? It's like, do I play video games? Yes, I've just gotten back into playing them. My dad's gone and I live with him right now, so I moved his like Wi-Fi router to the
yeah.
middle of the room, and all of a sudden I have a PlayStation Portal, and all of a sudden I can play my video games again, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah." Um, so I was playing a little bit of Rivals because I loved Overwatch,
Yeah.
but I'm a nerd. So you give me Overwatch with Marvel characters
And yeah.
and
It's a
and yeah, I'm good, especially because there's so many, like, X-Men characters. I grew up watching X-Men, like, it was my comfort show, so I had, like, VHSs because I'm old. I had VHSs of X-Men because, like, why not, right?
yeah. Like, and Rivals is a big thing. It's Rivals, you need to Rivals is one of those games when it comes to, like, the streaming space where you either need to be ridiculously good or ridiculously entertaining or both. So, like,
Yeah.
yeah, you either need to be a ranked play or you need to be one hell of a comedian is what I've typically found with, like, rival streamers. So, yeah.
I think I'd be hilarious, but it would take me a while. But I don't know if, like, I've turned so many of my hobbies into, like, careers or
Oh, yeah.
businesses that I'm kinda like, "Do I really want this thing to also be or, like, do I wanna keep this to myself?" And then, like,
Yeah.
the only things I would stream would be me watching TV shows, and that gets into, like, a weird gray area.
It does, yeah, it gets into, like, weird copyright stuff, which is like, what do I even do kind of in that scenario? Like, yeah, it's so I have this really weird philosophy on, like, my streaming and my content creation, and
Mhm,
kind of where to draw the line is, like, my game streaming exists not only, like, it serves the purpose of, like, publicity and, like, marketing, yes, like, people get to know me, but it's also for the fact of, like, hey, I want to be a part of this community as well as, like, play this game, and
mhm,
I want to be accessible, and I want to go and play these games for inspiration for my woodworking and my making. And so it serves, like, multiple purposes. And then when I get tired of gaming and when I'm burnt out from that, I go and I wanna be like, I wanna feel productive, air quotes, because it's all a matter of it's, like, really a matter of perspective. I then
mhm,
go into the wood shop and I take a break from the games and I do, like, manual labor and I take some time away from all of the media and whatever else that going on around the games. Um,
mhm.
or I listen to podcasts and approach it from a completely different angle. So it's like when you stream, you need to have a purpose for yourself,
Yeah,
not just as much as you need to, like, be on for the community. Because, like, there are people who find streaming fun, like myself. We're masochists. We want punishment. But there are
okay.
other and that's a complicated relation. The we're not gonna get into parasocial relationships between chat and streamer. It's just not, and
No,
mods.
it's I find it to be so okay, so I will
Yeah.
sometimes, like, stream me working, which doesn't work out well, but it is
Okay.
really what I like. I love the, like, "Come work with me" type things, but the problem is when I'm working, I'm so silent.
Yeah. And therefore you need to, like, do well on, like, your tags and your keywords so people find you, and the people who are looking for coworkers will find you and watch your stream and whatever else. So, like,
Yeah,
the biggest advice I could give to any streamer who wants to start out is, like, make sure streaming has a grain of it that's for yourself and be self-interested and invested in it. For me, it's seeking inspiration for the next project. And
mhm,
that's what streaming is about for me, as well as interacting with the community and, like, having friends.
mhm,
So streaming has brought me a lot of places that I didn't think, but being a diversified streamer in that I'm also a woodworker and I have a skill set outside of content creation has opened that many more doors for me in, like, tech and streaming, which is really, like, cool. But make sure walk away, Blake, is that
Yeah.
what I want you to walk away with is make sure there's an element of it of this is for me in your streaming.
And see, that's why, like, for me, like, I automatically speaking of, I'm, like, ending me shooting content real quick because I shoot, like, a day in my life. I don't know if you've seen them, but I shoot, like, a day in my
Yeah.
life, content, and that I love. It doesn't get a lot of views, but I do love it. I'm a reality TV girl. Like when I finally could watch MTV when I was in high school, I loved like the real world. I love seeing like the intricacies of someone's day. I think it's just so fascinating how people live their lives. But I'm a psychology major and I like sociology. So like that makes sense. Um, but I'm not streaming my every moment of every day because go fuck yourselves. But
Yeah.
like I really do like, that's the hard part because for me watching, like, reality TV or TV shows is the most entertaining thing that you could, like, get out of me. Me and my mom watching Project Runway is hilarious. It's just me giving commentary and be like, "I don't like him. Get him off my screen. Can he be done?" And my mom was just looking at me, and I'm like, "I'm serious. Get him off my screen." Like, those are the moments where, like, my personality comes alive
Yeah.
and so running into the copyright stuff is, like, really hard. I mean, I guess it's easier if you don't, like, show it on the screen.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking of, like, adding but it's so much work, like, I do so much. I
I
do s
I Okay, I follow you on Threads. I hope you see my interaction notifications when I by the way,
Yeah.
just side note for editor slash audience slash whatever. If you see me looking off to the side, my monitor is here, my camera is here. So I'm trying to like I'm camera training myself to look just above the camera to make it feel like I'm watching and interacting with you and the viewers at home and whatever else.
But then you're
But
like, "But I need to see your
yeah,
face
I
sometimes."
need to yeah, exactly. I need to so if I'm ever, like, looking like little side eyes off it's because Blake is actually here. I'm just pretending you're right there. So pull back the curtain for the audience a little bit, but,
Mhm.
um, and then I lost my train of thought. Oh, interacting with your content. Yes. So I have seen your content. I do interact with it, and I d like, I also am one of those people who, like, privacy. Like if you no, you don't get my everyday. You already get my craft and my every
Yeah.
waking moment and like a specific like you there are things that I do not show to camera very either purposefully or simply because you don't need to know what I had for breakfast. And if you do, it's for a comedy bit. Like
Yeah.
ah!
Like, it you don't like, I've been doing, stacked waters recently.
Yeah.
So I started showing me making them, and I was like, nobody really cares about that. I'm just gonna drink it, and if anybody wants to know, then they could be like, "Oh, what's in your cup?" And then I would be like, I could do a content about what's in my cup, but I'm not about to show you the 7 steps it takes for me to make this stacked water. Like, that's just not, like, my content pillar, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I get, like I was filling out I'm using, this new, like, content management, tool called Rella. And
Okay.
it was, like, doing a persona, and I used my persona, whatever, but I was filling it out, and I lost my train of thought that quickly. Oh, and then it was like, "Well, what things are you comfortable sharing?" And I was like, "I don't share my personal life." Like, I may share bits, and I don't and people, like, my friends and family be like, "Yeah, but you share everything online." And I'm like, "Do I? 'Cause did you see me crying in the bathroom for 10 minutes? No, you absolutely did not see that." Or,
Oh.
like, things that happen in my family there's so many things happening in my family right now.
Yeah.
None of you have ever gotten it.
Yeah.
Unless it, like, served a purpose for a podcast or whatever, none of you if I fight with my mom, you're not getting that. Like, those things are just, like, really personal to me, but it's always interesting when people see that, like, parasocial relationship and they think they know everything about you, and to your point, they don't realize that I'm only showing you
Yeah.
these bits out of
Yeah.
this whole.
And oh, and the oh, yeah, and the amount of my creator friends that I've had, like, very honest conversations and then realized that, like, they are they live entire like, even the people who I view as fairly open
Mhm,
with their content and talking about their struggles, either mental health or otherwise, and
mhm,
then I sit down with them at a convention or I have dinner with them, and I realize that there is like, just such a richer life behind all of the content that they either never talk about, I never knew, or even that they like I know creators who I won't name names, but they have to play by like K-pop idol rules. They like can't talk about certain yeah, it is. It's nutty. Like just I mean, I know we'll get into this later because this is one of the topics on the docket, but like
mhm,
being a femme presenting individual on the internet is you play by a completely different set of rules. And
mhm.
I'm like, what is go that sounds like a nightmare. What made you consider content given the challenges in front of you? Because that's a thoroughly a nightmare.
Yeah.
So yeah, that oh, um I can't even begin to I do this very concerned like finger tent kind of thing. Like
No, I
I
love
just
it. I do like
yeah, like
me and my coworkers, we're like this right now. We do this.
yeah.
We're like, "I fear," or "Got a proposition for you here." So that's what but I mean, it's still a finger tint. It's just like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so I completely get it. Um, all right. We've been talking. Let us run this.
yeah.
I've been using the system for so long, but they just changed it. There we go. And I'm like, okay, this is great, but I need to be able to find all of my things. All right, there he is. Let's run our intro and then we'll get into everything else. Let's
Okay.
see if this works.
Alright.
Oh, it did. Yay.
I'm dead.
All right. Hello, hello, hello. It switched us. That's so funny. Hello, Unbothered, and welcome to another episode of Basically Unbothered. Today we are joined by Thomas. Thomas, you want to introduce yourself? Let everybody know who you are, what it is you do, everything like that.
Yeah. So my name is Thomas Dusano. I am a nerdy woodworker, and also, the Sano and Tusano comes from my, half Japanese grandfather, so which is plays an important part of the story and Brandon, etcetera, but just something that I wanted to mention. So yeah, I make things for the tabletop industry. You might see a smattering of things behind me, uh, dice boxes and wood pieces and whatever else that you might catch in frame. But that's basically my whole job is making nerdy things for nerdy people.
I First of all, I love this. We met at a Mothfire vending event, and he's the sweetest person because he gave me this big game kit or box that I gave to my cousin. She loved it, by the way. She came down here last fall, and I finally got to remember I was telling you that I wanted to bring her there, but
Yeah,
time didn't work out for me to be able to bring her. But she loved it. She's still doing I don't know, we haven't been communicating as much as relationships ebb and flow, but we share a Canva. So I know that she's still doing tabletop gaming, specifically
nice,
D&D. But
awesome.
that's how we met, and I loved your stuff, and I've actually been really sad because I haven't seen you at another Mallfire event.
So I meant to catch you the other night because I was hoping that you were going to be there. Two of my
Mhm.
friends were in from out of town, one from Philly, one from the Bronx. I believe I always get Brooklyn and Bronx mixed up. I get the two like conflated.
Get
But
Queen, Brooklyn, Bronx all mixed up, so you're fine.
yeah, yeah. Well, he won't forgive me. Is the
No.
thing.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
won't. He'll put me up on a cross for that one. So either way, or he'll at least rib me politely. He won't actually do anything violent. But um, either way, my two friends were there, and I wanted you to meet them because they're very much in the nerd space. Cameron with an X and the art of storytelling by law. Um, so I was hoping to catch you there. I have been horrendously busy, and I still have those awesome little book birds that we collaborated on, and I still need to punch them out. It is on my guilty round to it list. So
It's okay. Well, like, it's so funny
Mm,
because for those who don't know, like I said, we met there and then we just connected and then we connected on Threads. And I want to emphasize how like important Threads is as a community. I was talking to my sister, like friend, sister, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm actually working on a group that I wanted to talk to you about, which is called the Creatives." And it's a group of different creative people kind of like coming together, networking, working on projects together, um, and just getting to vibe because it's such a the network in like Michigan can be really big, but it's also really clicky. And so like finding people that you're not going to these big events and they're like buy-ins and all I was scratch your hand, you scratch my hand type of networking, all of those things. So me, I went to like a writer's retreat and I saw that it was like icky and I was like, let's change this narrative. Um, but she was like, yeah, so 'cause she's not like versed on the social media. She was like, yeah, so should we be posting on Facebook and Twitter? And I was like, ooh, honey, let me tell you that those are the last two places.
yeah.
And also, like, why are we still on Twitter?
Why? the the only reason I have, and you will see me on Twitter, is and you will not probably see me posting with any frequency, but it was
Mhm.
because of a concept I was taught back in college that like brand squatting is a thing, and therefore like in case someone wants to impersonate you. So that is the only reason I have like Pinterest, Twitter, and any other controversial social media platform or that doesn't like seemingly align with my brand. It's to make
Mhm.
sure that no one can impersonate me. So
It's funny because 'cause I'm getting ready to do an Instagram for the creatives for that specific reason, so no one can impersonate us, and I was just talking about, like, right now, TikTok is not shooting my videos out, but I had this thought. Okay, so TikTok, to be in America, had to jump on a whole new server, right? I don't think that that server was prepared for because, like, if you saw, as soon as it happened, the whole thing went down.
mm,
So, I've been wondering this is an island concept. So, in the islands, what they do and they do it some in, like, LA and some other places, but they do rolling blackouts.
okay.
So, I wonder if because I noticed it's been going on for, like, 2 weeks, which is around the time that the World Cup thing started getting really big,
Yeah.
and they're pushing out World Cup content like crazy.
Okay.
So, I'm wondering if they're saving their servers to make sure that they push out the content that they think everybody wants to see, World Cup and other specific things going on. Because
Yeah.
if you notice when, like, Coachella happens, your videos won't get pushed out a lot. When Raining Man like, all those things that people a mass amount of, like, specifically influencers and content creators that are high are promoting, because they're always gonna give more availability to those people because those people make them more money.
Yeah.
I've noticed that, but I was telling people, like, this is why you can't just put all your eggs in one basket, right? Because while TikTok is failing me, Instagram all of a sudden wants to push my reels.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
it's so interesting, but again, those are owned by 2 different companies still. So
Yeah.
their practices are different. Social media is hard.
I have been either trying to crack it or like involved tangentially somehow with it for at least 10 years. And
Yeah,
even growing up with it as a digital native, I did not like fully understand like the keys to the car that we were handed kind of scenario. I still don't. I
yeah.
don't I don't think any of us will until like you're given that kind of like you actually go and see the server rooms and you understand it from like a software engineer's perspective. And sometimes I think they're so siloed that even like one engineer who's over here handling like chat does not understand the engineer who's handling main feed. Like they're just yeah. So
No, no. I I was gonna do a book,
yeah.
like an online book festival, and what is the chat that, like, everybody loves for, like, online gaming and stuff?
Discord. Yeah.
Cannot stand it. Let me To your point, that is what I felt the most. Discord was the most disorganized. Like everything's all over the place. 5 people are chatting in here and then they're down here and then they're up here and you got to be in 7 different groups. And I was just like, and on top of that, this specific book event would only chat on Facebook Messenger, which let me just tell you guys is one of the worst things you can do for your brand. If you're using Discord as a way to organize things, please keep your chat on Discord. Very few people in the millennial Gen Z age are using Facebook nowadays. My Facebook because Facebook gets hacked easily now. My Facebook got hacked and I was just like, okay, my life is legitimately better.
When your Facebook got hacked.
Like it got hacked and the only thing I'm upset about is my photos.
Yeah.
But the funny part is, it's hacked to the point where I can't get in, but they can't get in. And it's just like, guys. But I do have backups. I always keep backups.
Yeah.
So I always have a backup. Like I miss my photos, but if I ever needed like my actual government name, I never use that Facebook at all, but it exists. And I do have a Facebook for Blake Gabrielle specifically as well. I just don't use it. Facebook is stupid, but it, to the point, like it is hard to understand. Like I could understand social media and like the like background and planning because I have a lot of my mom's a Virgo. I have a lot of background in planning. You grow up with a Virgo, you learn how to organize. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. You grow up with a Virgo, you learn to organize. But I
That
went on
skipped
this.
me because August 29th. I am the most chaotic person
Well,
alive.
that's
But
because I mean, like you're not that close, but you might still have a little bit of Leo in you.
yeah,
Your Leo might be like taking over your Virgo side or whatever. But no, like Discord, I looked on there and I was like, I literally taught myself how to build my own website. I mean via Wix, but still, I taught myself how to build an intranet for my job using Microsoft. I can't remember whatever they use to make websites in Microsoft. Discord humbled me. I was like, I can't do it. Find somebody else. It's not gonna be me.
I I
Humbled
have
me.
I have a love-hate relationship with Discord, and that is that I tolerate it when Discord is good and like and the voice chat hang is going and everything
Yeah.
else and like that's awesome and whatever else. But like asking asking even the same group of friends who I have known for like 8 to 10 plus years using a singular Discord server to you like herd all the cats that they have going in different chats and like have a it's like it's difficult and like then like little sub arguments pop up in other channels and then
Mm-mm.
you're like, well wait, haven't you been keeping track of what's going on in this? I'm like, no, I have a life. Like, what is?
And that ultimately was the reason why I didn't do the event
Yeah,
because they were terribly organized. And I'm not going to name the people because people might love them and I'm not here to, whatever. They were terribly organized. Um, I hated it. And on top of that, it was by the time I realized that I needed to do all these things because there's 17,000 discords I got to join and they're all giving different things. I couldn't even like sign up for events. So basically, my whole purpose in this book event was just for my book to be seen in graphics. And then I had to design graphics, or they design graphics on Canva. And this like mystical night forest type thing, which was cool. But then they're like, you can't change the theme of this and blah blah blah. And I'm like, none of this goes with my branding. So you're all dark purples and deep golds and deep blues, and I'm like hazy pink and muted like those things. So like I'm making them with my brand and everything, and they just contrast so terribly. And I'm not about to change my branding. It was so bad. It was so bad. I mean, but the thing is that everybody wants to be a part of it and they don't realize like the differences. Now, I will say I'm going to do a shameless plug here, although it's going to be too late for people to get this. but I'm going to be a part of another live book event as a co-host, and it's Pages Against the Patriarchy, and their branding is beautiful, right? It's yellows and it's colorful, but it's in a way where it's not too deep and dark where your branding can't mix well with it.
Okay. That is not something I had ever considered as a concern of a lot of different people of whether or not like I understand like brand like topic, but brand aesthetic also fitting into event is like, oh, hold on, I had never considered that.
Yeah. I mean, that's why like event hosting is such a weird like space because there's so many things that you have to think about. I am happy like Mallfire's been doing a lot better. Because they have like new people taking over the event thing. So the last one that we did was actually really cool. And a lot of people showed up and their branding is pretty minimal and which is really good. And like there's nothing wrong with maximal. I'm a more minimal, but there's nothing wrong with maximal. You just have to like be aware that like maybe you can be like, here is our color schemes. Just use one of the colors so that people can match. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
Yeah.
all that being said, let's get into our topics. We're going to get into our pop culture roundup, which sounds so much worse when I don't have a voice. Quick interruption before we get back to the chaos. You know how every recommendation list somehow ends up being the exact same books? Yeah, we're not doing that. That's why I opened Blake's Indie Author Bookstore, an online bookstore dedicated to indie authors and the stories that deserve a whole lot more attention. I spend my time finding books from independent authors so you don't have to scroll for hours hoping that the algorithm gets it right. Whether you're looking for romance, fantasy, sci fi, thriller, or something that completely surprises you, there's a good chance your next favorite book isn't sitting on the front table of a big box bookstore. It's sitting in an indie author's catalog waiting to be discovered. So if you're ready to read outside the bestseller bubble, visit Blake's Indie Author Bookstore and see what you have been missing. Because around here, indie stories find their readers. But our first topic of today is that Giselle, and I'm not going to say her last name, Buchin?
Youngkin? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Giselle, the model who was married to Tom Brady. There we go. I hate
Yeah.
saying that, but her last name is unfortunate. Like your last name is not difficult to say. I just don't know
Yeah.
how to pronounce it type shit.
Yeah.
Um, Father's Day just happened and she snubbed Tom Brady in her Father's Day post. And it is it, it has created such an interesting conversation on the interwebs. I it's so petty. I don't do
Mm,
you like sports? I'm a sports
so
girl.
okay, so here's my horse in this race, all right,
Okay.
is I grew up going to New England Patriots games. Did not necessarily love football. I'm still not like if sports are on or someone has tickets to a game, I don't like go like rabbit at the mouth, but I'll be like, okay, cool, let's go.
Mhm.
And so I read this and then I checked up on it before the show and I was like, good for her. Like, I'm sorry, Tom Brady to me, like I've had a bit of a like again New Englander for years and years and years,
Yeah.
and whatever else, and I never understood like the star status. I saw like the jokes in like Ted and Family Guy. I they got a chuckle, but eventually like he just kind of fell off the pedestal for reasons, air quote like gestures broadly reasons. And so I kind of looked at the tabloids and like I googled like, okay, what's this about? And I was just like, this is a giant nothing burger, but I'm glad she had a good holiday.
Hey, so first of all, this is gonna be a weird take, guys.
No, go for it.
I love Tom Brady. As a University of Michigan fan, my grandfather went to University of Michigan. I hope to one day go to University of Michigan, although I'm not really a big fan of modern day education. I don't think that study test is the best way to learn and to like I'm really not a big fan of that right now. I think that like more hands-on. I don't think testing people in general is the best way to determine whether they gain that information or not. That's just a me
Mhm.
thing. Um but, like, I grew up my dad is a huge Tom Brady fan, so I grew up loving Tom Brady. I am still mad at Matt Stafford because I stand by the statement, if Matt Stafford never threw that Hail Mary pass to Cooper Kupp, I think it was, when he was playing, the Buccaneers in the playoffs and won that game after Tom Brady once again did a Brady-like comeback, they all would still be together. But I don't know what happened in their I mean, like, I don't know what happened in their background. Is it shitty that Tom Brady chose football and his career and chasing his thing over his family? Yes. Do I understand it? Yeah, I do. I understand the ego of the menfolk and like or just ego of someone in that status and you always want to end on a good note. And the fact that he didn't end on a good note just felt like really horrible for him and he couldn't too bad for him because then he was getting divorced and then he played like shit the rest of his last season. But I got a good chuckle out of it. But then I thought about like this and this is a terrible comparison, but I make it all the like Kardashian theory, right? Where their baby daddies are questionable at best, right?
Yeah.
Most of their baby daddies have done something wrong, but they have always been very like co-parenting comes first, whether I like you or I don't like you. Co-parenting is the thing that matters. And like there's so many inner workings. So maybe Giselle feels like Tom is a deadbeat dad and she probably raised their children for the most part, which she probably did. Let's be real. And she probably had to give up some of the modeling and things like that to she probably didn't have an equal partner, and
Yeah.
that is not fair. But he is still the father of your kids, like, you can't erase that.
Yeah.
And, like, that's the part where, you know, it's more about, like, the children things, like, if your child is gonna be like, "Well, mom, why did you make this post about stepdad, but not dad?" And then how do you, like, explain that? So that's my other thing. But as a woman, a big F you to someone who probably, like, screwed you over, I'm here for. I just thought it was funny, like, I mean, there's no lore, there's no like you said, there's no nothing to it. It was just she just decided not to do it.
Yeah. And
On the flip side, Neo and Nick Cannon have to thank, like, 10 women for Mother's Day because they just out
uh
here procreating.
yeah. Oh
So,
god.
like, I don't know. The biggest discord I saw was like not giving recognition to your ex, which I love, but I'm a very like, your story is built by the stories that came before you.
Mhm.
So, like, my exes did whatever they did to me, but I'm the person I am now because of that. You don't deserve credit for my greatness. I'm not going to give them that. But, like, I'm not going to pretend that you didn't exist either.
And that's something that that's something that I've also kind of like my friends have so I don't have any relationship with my father. I'll put it that way. But my friends have like wondered, like I make jokes about how rightfully angry I should be, and my friends are like, "Will you drop this already?" I'm like, "No, this is funny to me. This is healing. This is how I'm dealing with this." So like, different strokes for different folks kind of
Mhm,
situation. Like I know that other people are very tired and exasperated by my antics a lot. Um, with like the other thing, so like let's say that going back to the Kardashian stuff, rewinding just a little bit, let's
mhm,
say that Giselle had made a post saying something about Tom.
mhm.
Like the tabloids would have been all over that, no
I think
matter what she
yeah,
did. And if she split it up the middle, they would have been, that's interesting. Like they're gonna be hanging on that she lives in the limelight and they're going to
right.
be hanging on every last word and opinion and thing that she puts out there. So I kind of like I'm kind of hand wavy when it comes to like air quotes Hollywood news.
Yeah.
Like and like at least when it comes to like interpersonal things, unless there is a broader, like a larger social implication, like like going on. But
Yeah.
otherwise, like there is something you can pull out of this, and it basically is like, I think, I'm trying to think of how to express this tactfully, because I'm like not walking on eggshells, but I could very carefully say something I regret, or very mistakenly say something I regret. But like, I think the broader thing here is the press letting Giselle's holiday here, her private life with her family, be this larger event. Like they're always going to stick
Yeah.
to, like, always frame it as, oh, she snubbed Tom Brady, instead of she's celebrating this new, like she's celebrating her
She's
happiness.
celebrating she just had a baby with this man, like, she's happy.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but this is why I think so I used to be a big part of the Mother's Day posts, Father's Day posts, happy birthday posts. I don't do that shit anymore. I tell my mom happy Mother's Day to her face, or if I can't see her on the phone, I tell my father happy Mother's Day to his face, or I can same with, like, birthdays, because I'm not gonna give you because and I think me and you are kinda similar. I'm gonna always operate on the thing that I'm gonna make it, right? And I think that other people should operate there. Like, if you start planning your content, your media, and like your strategies as if you will get there, then you start thinking about things differently. Like, how, if I do this now, I'm gonna have to do this forever. I'm
Mm,
not, I'm not gonna give anybody any like fire about like saying happy birthday or not happy birthday or Mother's Day, not Mother's Day. The people that I care about, they'll get it personally. I don't need to be performative for Instagram. And I think that's the bigger issue is that like all celebrities now feel like they have to be because if they don't say happy birthday to one sister, because maybe they forgot or whatever, then everybody's like, oh, they're fighting or their friend or whatever. Then the media webs are going to be like, oh, they read too much into it. And my strategy is just to not give you that ammo at all. You can't read anything into something I'm not giving you.
yeah. I loved, I forget which song this was on, but I loved Mike Shinoda's takeaway, saying that he only does written responses to press interview requests. And it was, there's a larger lyric in a Linkin Park song somewhere that or a
Mhm.
Fort Minor song somewhere, where I'm
Mhm.
like, that is the move. That is the smartest thing to do, because people can, especially nowadays, like take what you say and chop it up and mix it around like they've always had been, but
Yeah.
now today to a ridiculous degree. And so I was like, giving a written receipt and a two-sided conversation,
Mm.
like, I definitely now am like, great, can I get that in a text or an email? If I want to hold someone to something, I'm like, give me that in a text, give me that in written communication
Mhm.
before we move forward with anything else. Because I'm, yeah.
It's the same way, like, when I'm on Threads and I wanna, like I'm looking for people, I'll do a meeting, but then all of my communication will be via email, like, I send my document. It's so important. I agree with you. Alright, I
Yeah.
could talk about this for days. Let's hop onto our another topic, which is
Yeah.
one that's near you I don't know if you are an Olympic person, but it's near and dear to my heart. So, Gabby Douglas had been trying for the last Olympics to get or like the world USA competition or whatever
Hmm.
to or worlds, I guess, to get back into gymnastics. She's doing this thing. If you guys don't know, I recently listened to this audiobook about what was his name? Oh my gosh, hold on. I need to know his names because it's important.
Okay.
He was like the one that was caught up
What was the audiobook?
it like had his name, Larry Nassar.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Gabby Douglas was in gymnastics when Larry Nassar was huge and uninhibited and was just doing his disgusting thing. And a lot of women from that team and not only was it Larry Nassar, but a lot of the people who were running Team USA at that time, they're also under investigation. And there's like from the book that I read, or audiobooks, they they're discussing that they're still under investigation and they got booted out of USA Gymnastics and there's a whole like organization. because it created like a terrible environment for them. And so Gabby Douglas and a lot of other gymnasts around that time took a step back from gymnastics because it was too toxic. It was too much. They weren't having fun anymore. But she's trying to make her comeback for the 2028 gymnastics, which would be insane because what you listeners might not know is that gymnastics usually has a like time frame for age because once you start puberty, your body doesn't move the same way. That's why gymnastics are built like this, right? Their body is literally a weapon. It's their tool. Most gymnasts don't even get periods because they have to be so like once they get a period, their life is just like their career changes, your body change like women bodies, right? You once you get those, you get curves, you get like me, I'm trying to embrace my life has decided since I had a surgery that I'm gonna be a little bit more curvy of a person. That's been really hard for me, but I've had to embrace it and I'm working on it. But like it's hard. Also, when you get older, your body just hurt. I'm 34 and if I do this, my shoulder cracks. Like you're like, yeah, look at my body aches too. But I do love Gabby Douglas and everybody loves Simone Biles and rightfully so, but Gabby Douglas is my Simone Biles.
I looked at this story and
Mhm.
so I'm going to admit just flat up front, like my authority on most of these is pretty nil, pretty zero. However,
Uh-huh.
I looked at face value, I read like what I could, and so I'm looking at Gabby's Wikipedia page, and I'm like, wait a minute, she competed in like early 2010s, and and it's now I'm like exact like I looked at my watch and I went, whoa, this is whether or not people realize it, this is an accomplishment in and of itself. Simply try like whether or not she qualifies for the
Mhm.
Olympics
Mhm.
to get back up on that horse. Wow, that was a terrible pun. And to try again and like that's massive because she is only like 30, she's early 30s because I think it was 95 her Wikipedia said 94 95 said
Mhm.
she was born. And I'm sitting there I'm like that's going to be howling torture day in and day out. Forget like the early level of acuity that she performed at for, she that was and I avoid I hope this isn't too charged or like I'm not being what's the word? I'm not being derogatory. It like her prime was in the early 2010s. And I
I
say
don't think
that only like statistically,
yeah, I
statistical
don't no,
prime.
I don't think that that's I think that, like, first of all, you don't have to worry about the things being misconstrued with me because I know
Okay.
your intent.
Yeah.
Social media can go fuck themselves. Um, le
Yeah.
legit like, people it's so funny because side quest real quick, my everybody calls me a man hater, right? So I made man hater merch, but my parents are like, "It's so infuriating to us because we know that you're not." Like, we've watched you champion for your dad and your brother and other men and like that, like, we know that that's not your heart, but because I call out bad behavior, that's how people take it, and I'm just like, I can't control how you're gonna take it. That being said, you're right, like, I also wish that we could be a little less sensitive in the media or a little bit more understanding that, like, not everybody is just saying things to hurt people's feelings or to be rude or whatever, because she is out of her prime. That's not a bad thing to say. It's a fact. Gymnastic prime happens in your teens. Everybody knows that. So, and to me, that's an important part of her story is that she is out of her prime and she's trying to make a comeback. And that's not something that now there are some gymnasts. I'm not well versed in gymnastics to be there, but there are some gymnasts who have been older and participated in it. But to have the goal to make it to the 2028 Olympics is crazy because Olympic gymnastic has changed so much from 2010 to where we are now. Like, because of Simone Biles has raised the bar so high that it's just like the amount of tricks and ways you have to twist your body into is just different now. And Simone Biles has competed in 3 Olympics.
Yeah.
But I also love a good underdog comeback story.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sitting here and I'm like, yes, like I hope this turns into something. I hope that we're talking about Gabby Douglas, and I hope it changes the landscape to shift that window and that prime just a little bit later so that there can be, because I think too often like there's this, we don't talk about what we're doing to young bodies
Yeah.
or younger people, and I say young like 18 to 40,
Mhm.
when we're talking about the pro athlete track, because by 45 we've burnt these people out and forced them into careers that they, like, unless they were paying very close attention to like marketing and all the other things that were going on alongside their athletic career that they
Mhm.
normally do not have time for, we have
Right.
essentially turned these people into just like they're just dead weights and they need to find new outlets, and like they're, these are human lives that we're talking about. So
Yeah.
like, so I'm hoping that it causes this shift in this larger conversation of like, hey, the window can shift a little bit later without it being devastating.
Yeah.
So
I also love that, like, that is the conversation we're having right now with women and men, right? I hate LeBron James. I cannot stand that man on everything and on basketball. But the fact that he's still performing at his age and still being a contender is amazing. The fact that women, Anne Hathaway, is that a topic? I want to make sure that's not a topic. Okay. It's a topic on,
I don't
I
know,
don't
but
think
yeah,
so. I just checked.
we can, yeah.
And it's a topic for like my other podcast, but that's okay. They come out differently. And Hathaway just announced that she's pregnant. She's in her 40s. Um, we're now bringing attention to like Vera Wang didn't become Vera Wang until her 40s, and Samuel Jackson wasn't known until his 50s. And like this idea that, you can't do it. And like this is something that's so passionate to me because my best friend who's no longer here was she like doped herself up with IVF treatments because she was in her early 30s and the doctors were like, your eggs drop. You're not going to be able to do this. And I think she ended up doing like 3 rounds, which is crazy. And every time I was like, hey, how about we take a break? And she's like, no, no, like I'm going to be out of my prime. And I was like, no, like we can legitimately, like, you're still young. And I like that concept is like lost on people is that
Yeah,
you are still young and you still have time to do whatever you want to do.
yeah. And
So go ahead.
it's something that I have an anxiety I don't think I've publicly hugely talked about, but, like, as I'm getting these pains from being a trade person, I get very often pangs in my arms and my wrists from doing what I do, either sanding or manipulating or whatever else, and I find
Mhm.
myself thinking like, "Oh, great, here comes the heart attack that I was warned about, like, in family history and whatever else," and I'm sitting there like, "No, I'm tops 35." Like,
Mhm.
yes, I'm in the window, but I'm still statistically way earlier. I need to put this anxiety aside and do the job and the things that I need to do instead of
Mhm.
seeking like comfort. But it's still like there is a voice that someone else put in my head that, like, once you reach unk status or whatever else you want to call it, like that's it, we're going to put you out to pasture, you're no longer culturally relevant anymore, and
Yeah.
you are enfeebled and should not be doing a certain set of things. No, no, like that should not be it. So yeah,
I love that. By the way, as a
yeah,
writer, I get like the authoritis pains myself. And when I'm like heavy into like editing or writing a book, I actually have to have wrist um what are those called?
yeah, like the
The
braces or the,
Yeah, wrist braces on both
yeah,
of my hands because it
yeah,
gets really bad. So I feel you. I've also been like when we're talking about like my body things recently. So like I had a surgery to remove a crap ton of fibroids that basically made my body think it was pregnant. And so to me, since then, my body has been like, you were pregnant. So now you spread out. And that's been really hard for me. My mom was having a conversation. She's like, yeah, well, it was the same thought of like, our family isn't small. you've been the smallest of our family, but that's in our family genes. And then I'm thinking about like, oh, but our family has cancer and heart disease, diabetes. And I'm like, I don't want any of that. And it like even affects the way I look at my body. And then I go to the doctor and they're like, oh, you're at like 165. We need to work on that. And I'm like, the fuck? The crazy amount of, like, because I get the same anxiety, the crazy amount of anxiety that people put on just, like, normal aging.
Yeah.
Like, you're aging normally, your bones are doing this because you use them a lot, and you can do things like I'm taking collagen right now to help with the joint stuff, you can do things because we're in a world where you have it, but you don't have to, like your life isn't over. You don't have to go down the, like, the health spiral, you know?
Yeah, the gloom and doom of like, no, this is it. I'm expired. Let's go. Like, okay, put me in the ground already. No,
Yeah.
there's so much more to be done. So
Yeah, there is. All right. Getting on to our last topic. Will Smith recently said that money stops buying happiness after a certain amount. That amount was 1 million a year. Now, I think that part of it is his own perspective because obviously he makes more than 1 million a year, but the concept is still the same and it's a psychological study that at a certain point, like money can't buy happiness up until a certain point. And the interesting thing is I was just watching a TikTok about like the class systems right now where like poor, um, just above poverty, low, low middle, middle. And you'd be surprised that I think right now, low middle is at the end cap is 85K and middle is somewhere in like middle straight is somewhere in the 100Ks. And, like, that's insane because to me, if you're making 85K, you should at least be middle, middle.
yeah, yeah,
Getting close you should be at the getting close to, like, high middle. And then it also made me feel sad because I realized that I was living in almost poverty. I was, like, low class, and I was like, "Thanks, guys." But is that 1,000,000 because everything in the world is shifting and becoming more expensive, and you need to make more money to do be more comfortable?
on on this,
Okay.
I'm torn between wanting to give Will Smith a hug for admitting this,
Yes.
and on the other
Yes.
side, I'm kind of like, I think it's a little lower. Like, I think like you've grown accustomed to a certain standard of living and like etc. And so for you, like that number, like 1 million, is reasonable.
Mhm.
But I'm like, honestly, if like there's a point where if I had not the figure, but the economic prosperity of someone bringing in anywhere from like the range of like 150 to 225 a year as a household, I think that's fine. Like that level of prosperity is more than anyone can kind of need or imagine. Like, unless you are the goddamn Brady Bunch, why do you need a 5,000 square foot house? Like, why do you need
Yes.
so I'm going to just go like, you're probably going to be editing this and gently wonder where the USSR anthem is coming from another room. It kind of like, where did that audio get in here? Like, so I'm just gonna I'm just gonna let that fly because there's no other way anyone could interpret what I'm saying.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, at a certain degree, like we've been over Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Can you tell I've been waiting for this topic? Can
Oh my
you tell?
god. You're like, "Yeah." By the way, you know what? Keep going. I'm gonna look up Maslow's
Okay.
hierarchy of needs because I just
So
want people to know.
yeah. So basically, like I think that after a certain, like after your needs are met, be honest, be like, the rest is just like flexing on people. The
Yeah.
rest is all ego. Like, why do you need anything beyond but to be able to like say you had these experiences? And it's wonderful that people have the opportunity to have these experiences, but at the same time, why would you ever need anything beyond a specific point other than to say that I like other to check this bucket list? And at that point, let's just communally agree that we all have a list of extravagant things that we want to do and strive for them rather than aspirationally building a dragon's hoard of wealth to the point where other people are impoverished and we're stepping over them. What kind of
I n
sorry.
no, no, I agree with you entirely. So, like, I have I have, like, a whole plan. I call it my blow up, glow up plan, right?
Yeah,
So that's for when I have my glow up and I blow up, because it's happening. I'm affirming it for the both of us. It's
thank you.
happening. Um, People will be surprised to know that the first thing that I want is just to have a loft. Maybe a penthouse loft if I'm gonna be, like, extra fancy, but a loft. I don't need that much space. My second thing I want is to get a space in St. Thomas because that's where my family is from. Again,
Mhm.
not a crazy amount of thing. I would want a bigger house there than I even for myself because that would be what I would want. Like I could bring people to, my family could stay at, yada yada. And then like a house cottage in Colorado because I love Colorado, but like nothing big, extravagant, just enough. I lived in a three-bedroom house that was old, and I'm filing for bankruptcy because don't get house that are too big for you. My lesson. I loved it, but, like, that's one of the things that had 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Like, it was beautiful. It was had a lot of space, but did I really need it at that point? I mean, I filled it, don't worry. But that's the thing, once you have more space, you feel the need to fill that space.
Yeah.
And I realized after having to let go of my house and going through my bankruptcy process that, like, I don't want that much space. I don't need like, some people I don't have kids. Maybe need 2 bedrooms for a guest to come stay
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like, I would rather spend my money on anything else than putting a good portion of my now, do I want the place to be a little bit more luxurious? I'm a little bougie, of course. I will like I have certain anxieties as well, and, someone explained it to me as a contamination anxiety, which
Okay.
is really fascinating, but I also have anxiety about, like, cleanliness. So, like, one of the reasons why I love lofts is because, like, it's all open and it's airy and it feels clean and fresh and energy is flowing through it. Um, I older things because now things are made to give, like, that feeling of
Yeah.
clean and whatever. Older things, although I do love wood. If you guys don't know, wood eats up humidity and then throws it in your house, and your house becomes just a humid bucket. Um, but, like, those obviously I have those things, but we don't need a $700 million 12-bedroom mansion for you and your 2 kids.
Yeah. No one does. No one does.
No one does, and, like, you know what? If that's how you wanna choose to live your life, sure, but my other pillar when for my blow up, glow up is to be giving back
Yeah.
immensely,
Yeah.
and that's the other I mean, that is one of the things that I do appreciate about Will Smith's family is that his kids I honestly don't even think they live super lavishly, honestly. From, like, when they have the red table talk and everything, they've never seemed to be the type of people who are like, "We need this gajillion mansion." I think Will is a little bit, and he's learning, that's what we're kinda getting from. Because Jada's more like, "We could live off the earth." And their kids are very much like, "We could live off the earth." I mean, Jaden is he's working to build, like, a food kitchen for homeless. He created Jaden and Will donated the most amount of money to Flint, which is just wild. They don't live here. They don't know anything about the Flint water system.
But I think they also understand, like, the cultural significance of Flint and what it, like, means to do
Yeah.
something like that, which is
Yes.
also very aware of them. Like, that is yes. So,
But so I think when 1,000,000 is a little too off track, but we do as society really need to look at what is actually important. So like for people, the Maslow's hierarchy of prioritization. I learned about this a long time ago in psychology, and I'm glad that you mentioned it because I completely forget. Basically, it's a pyramid, And it basically says you cannot move to the next point in the pyramid unless you have reached this first one. And it's really important because that explains poverty, that explains systematic situations that keep minorities and people who are impoverished down. And that explains like your mindset, right? And how it's hard to move up and out of systems and class systems. So the first one is your physiological needs. That is the first thing that needs to be met. So you have to have air, food, water, shelter, clothing, and be able to sleep. That's your first, that is the first need that's met in your mind. To me, that is what's called living in survival, right? Along with the second step, which is health, employment, property, family, and social ability. Those two things that you're living in, that's just living in survival mode. But that's where most of us live. Some of us are lucky enough to be in love and belonging, which means that after you have those needs, so I want to be clear, after that you have those two needs met, then you can move up to love and belonging because then you have the emotional space to do so, which is friendships, family, intimacy, and sense of connection. And trust me, if you've been in a place like me filing for bankruptcy, that family, friendships, intimacy, and sense of connection does actually not matter anymore. You like literally forget that that's important. It's very important to us, but you forget that it's important. Then after you have all that, you can work on your self esteem, which is why most of us have low self esteem and are just like pushing our problems on other people. And then after that, you can reach self actualization where you have morality, creativity, spontaneity, acceptance, experience, purpose, meaning, and inner potential. But if you're not like meeting those bottom levels, you're never getting up there.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And like
I've
that
had
is why, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was about to say and not to again climb up on the cross and nail myself there, but like I'm currently at this thing of like I'm having to utilize some of those to manage others. So I'm using it like which sucks, but that's the whole starving artist conversation. Get into
Yeah.
another day.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why starving artists are so stressed out because what we're doing is we're trying to be at self-actualization and self-esteem without having the physiological safety and security things. So we're just like living on a cloud,
Yeah.
barely making it. That's why some may seem unstable or whatever sometimes. It's because to be an artist, sometimes you have to sacrifice base needs and that fucks with you mentally. But a lot of people also don't get that. My best friend, she'd be like, you could just get a basic job and just pay for your things. And I'm like, oh, honey,
I'm going to hold your hand while I tell you this.
if only, if only, if only. Because
Oh,
I don't think people understand that too. Like, I'm really embracing the fact that my body was never meant for a 9 to 5. And I'm also starting to really embrace that my body was never meant to work for someone else.
yeah.
And there's
And
nothing wrong with that.
it's terrifying and no one ever tells you cuz I've gone through that same thing
Mhm,
and that realization and just kind of like I remember working for a company where I was doing what I love to do and what I want to do and what I was doing now. And I
mhm,
remember eventually having a day where I just like anxiety puked and I was like I haven't done that since I was a small child over separation anxiety over my like me and my parents.
mhm.
I was like what the like what is going on? So yeah, like, what the yeah, woof.
It's crazy, but I want everybody to remember that like 1 million isn't the answer. I think it changes for everybody, and Will Smith is saying that because he probably could live comfortably off of 1 million a year based on how he's lived his life for most of his life. But money actually, to be clear, does not buy happiness. If you remember, money is at the lowest of that list.
Yeah.
It's money
My
is just supposed to be the base.
yeah. I I will my one closing thought
Mhm,
is for any of you out there that find yourself in a place like myself and Blake are, demand more from life. And you have every reason and expectation to do that when it comes to your needs. Demand more from life. and I'm not saying like go up to your partner or like your boss or whoever
It'd
else
be
and
like,
like
"Give me a
yell at that.
raise."
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like whole yeah, but like whole. Well, I mean sometimes that's that. Well, to your boss, sometimes or your employer, sometimes that's the solution, but not always. This is not legal advice. Uh, but like expect more out of your life and seek that abundance, that manifestation, whatever you want to call it. Seek more, seek greater. Ask more of what you can get out of life. Don't settle.
I agree. Sorry, I'm trying to move this softly because it makes, like, the most creaky noise, and
Yeah.
I have ADHD, so I play with it, like, 17 times a day. I agree. That's where I'm at now, and it's been a beautiful place to be in, is where I'm like, "I want more." And it's scary because I'm starting to notice that when I say it, things disappear from my life, problems start to happen in my life, and I'm trying to remind myself, it's like, if you demand more from life, you can no longer live in this area. Your life is going to start to shift to put you in another area. Go with it. It's scary as fuck, but
My
demanding more from your life is important.
Oh, it's so terrifying. It's so terrifying. I This is a conversation where I would love to sit and just have a beer with you about this because this is goddamn like it's terrifying. It is. It is. So
First of all, you work so close to my job. You and I can have a beer anytime you
yes.
want,
Yeah,
legitimately. Like, off the podcast, let's schedule that.
100%. Because
All right,
I wanna talk about that.
yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna skip our pettier facts and we're gonna get right into our main topic, which
Okay.
is diversity in gaming. Quick pause, because if you love dark stories that don't flinch, Olympic War isn't a soft love story. It's violent, it's chosen, and it costs everything. Through war, betrayal, and survival, Moonstone fights for devotion that refuses to die. This is a Black, multicultural dystopian series about power, sacrifice, and what rises from the ashes. Olympic War and Phoenix War. Read them wherever books are sold. First of all, let me tell you, I'm so excited to talk about this because, as we stated earlier in the episode, I love gaming. I'm not like crazy into it, but I grew up in like my dad had PlayStation. When he had his PlayStation, me and my brother were playing on the Sega Genesis and Sega Saturns. He had what was the third Sega?
God. I don't I wanna say it hopped to PlayStation, but for some reason, I feel that's wrong.
I
There was
think there
the
was
Sega Genesis sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I might be the Dreamcast.
Yes, Dreamcast. It was the Sega Dreamcast. So we
Yeah.
had the Genesis and the Saturn in our room. He had PlayStation and Dreamcast in his room. So I grew up playing. I play Mortal Kombat. I don't have the same feelings that people feel about Mortal Kombat because, again, my dad had a PlayStation, so we played a lot of Tekken.
Yeah.
So I didn't get into Mortal Kombat lore, but I just remember like tennis, Sonic, other like games that we had is just something that was Sega was just the best. But I grew up in a gaming household, and then we always had new PlayStations, new Nintendos. I've had a Nintendo, um God, I'm gonna forget. What's the first handheld? Why is my brain blanking?
It would be the Game Boy and then the Game Boy Advanced and then Game
So
Boy, the Game Boy Color,
Game
and the
Boy
Game Boy Advance.
Color. So I
Yeah.
had Game Boy, and then my brother had Color. We both got Advanced, and we both got DS's. Then we had Wii's in our household. We had PlayStations 1, 2s, and 3s. And because my brother started to really like Halo, we also got Xboxes. Like, I grew up in a
Nice.
gaming household, but I always had to prove myself in said gaming household. And before we get into it, I'm gonna tell you this little anecdote. I wanted to watch Degrassi, and we had one TV downstairs, right? This was before, by the way, my brothers, they gamed, like, they loved gaming so much, and they all, like, came over our house that they got different baby TVs. And this is before they started charging you for, like, how heavy your internet can roll for
Yep.
streaming. They got
Yep.
different TVs, and they would all be in the basement. One TV's over here, one TV's over here, one person's playing on the big TV. playing each other so that they couldn't look at the screen
Yeah,
and see
so
their
they're
positions. Crazy. But, I wanted to watch Degrassi, and, like, that was on the big TV. They wanted to play video games on the big TV. I'm like, "Okay, fight me for it." So we played Tekken. I don't care what y'all say about Christy. Christy's the shit. Fuck you. I she's the best button mashing character that you can ever find. Y'all should just be playing her more. I beat these boys 21 to nothing. I had
whoa.
s each one was 30 minutes of TV time. I had so much TV time. I was just living in TV time. Loved it.
I love that you all just are wagering liar's dice style with over
Yes,
Tekken matches.
yes. I mean, that's the
4
look.
hours before the mast.
That's the way you gotta do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny because I honestly think that, like, if we were given the chance, it'd still be our personalities.
Yeah.
Let me fight you for it, but
I'm
not
just
physically.
I'm just imagining Davy Jones trying to wrap a claw around a controller, just quarter circles, Mr. Turner.
That's the way we should fight wars, guys. Can you beat me in Tekken?
Agreed. Agreed. I'll take that. I love that. Oh, oh
But
man.
you're I mean,
So
gaming is different, right? So you're in all different forms of gaming.
yes. So I'm gonna admit this is kind of a pet peeve where like I almost wanted to be not angry for show, but give people the spectacle of me rallying on this.
Okay.
So I exist in so many in gaming in all its forms, almost to the point where I just blanket call it storytelling because it's easy. It's way easier to explain it to across different generations to just say it's a form of storytelling
It is.
because I'm in tabletop RPG world, I'm in trading card world, I'm in because this right here is actually my commander deck for Magic the Gathering. So like I'm in that world. I'm in video games. A lot of my content that I'm doing now, or like my content planning, involves tying myself in with larger game studios. I've done work for Bungie. I've done a lot of different work for social media and content creators, where like I'm creating thematic pieces based on what they do, and so yeah, I'm like that is my whole job is to
Mhm,
make for. I call it one of my branding words is nerdery. It's just like different spaces, different things for geeks and nerds.
mhm,
And so the what is stuck in my craw about this is that I look around and I am friends with or I have earned the respect of or I have like the connections I have made I'm very proud of. If I go through my social media and I go through my mutuals and I go through people that I've shared messages with,
mhm,
I've got people from across all different marginalized groups, and I'm very proud of what I've curated there.
mhm,
Um, and it is close to my heart because I while I don't necessarily share pain with other like let's just be open and honest. Look at this. Look at I'm pale as daylight. It you know, and everyone would believe so. Until you know you meet my grand oh, hold on. Until you would see a picture of my grandfather and then you'd be like, "What, Thomas, why are you being held by an Asian man?" Because that's like they were like I would walk into hardware stores with my grandfather when he was teaching
mhm,
me like trade skills, and they'd be
mhm,
like, Harry, is this one yours? I was a full foot and a half taller than him, barrel chested, and here's this little Asian man walking in like this, and he's got a Viking, like a full blown Viking behind him, and they're like, that's your grandson. Yes, yes, that's my grandson. So anyway, because my great grandfather saw it, because there are other people in my life who have seen discrimination and hate and pain at the hands of it.
mhm,
And if I were to pretend like that did not exist, I would be doing all of them the greatest disservice. A
mhm,
disservice to my friends, a disservice to my family and my ancestors, a disservice to basically everyone around me to pretend like that it doesn't exist just because I can.
mhm,
No, I'm not going to insulate myself from that just because I have and not to get savior about it. I just think that people shouldn't be hateful towards one another. So,
I I don't
sorry,
think
go
it's
ahead.
first of all, I don't think
Yep.
it's savior. I think there are people who have savior mentalities and they don't know it, and it's sometimes it's just their way of learning, right? Um, I'm actually seeing this a lot in the AI sphere where a lot of people are trying to take on AI is bad for the minorities and I mean, obviously they have their own skin in the game, but they talk about things that the data centers or whatever use for it. And that to me sometimes can ring that way. And I don't think they intend to, but they don't realize that although AI does all those things, it actually helps minorities in such a different way. And like you can't you can't take on a fight. You can aid a fight that minorities have. You cannot take on a fight that minorities aren't starting,
Got it.
kind of thing, you know? I
Yeah.
think that's when like the savior complex kind of comes in is when you start trying to take over. Like if I were going out, and someone says something like not racist, but there's like an underlying tone there, you can't take on the fight if I'm not taking on the fight. And that's where it starts to feel like savior complex. And I also want my people and people of color to understand that that is just a natural way of people trying to make up and learn for maybe their own past behaviors or things that they've learned. Um, that being said, though, you don't have that. I think that is important for people who are the people that are marginalizing or come from the type of people who are marginalizing to be open and outspoken about things. And that's why I don't get into like, I love the discourse, but I'm not going to shame anybody for things like that because it's like the only one that's going to check a man is a man, right? Like to be realistic, the only one that's going to really check a woman is a woman. The only person that's going to check a rich person is a rich person because they know how to speak the language. And that is where, like, unless you have emotionally evolved, which unfortunately not many people have, people can only meet you in your sphere. This is why I created the podcast in the first place is that we just examined pop culture and laughed about it, but also looked at it of like, what does it say about society and things going on or whatever. That's me meeting people where they are. Right.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that calling out diversity from your color of skin is also really important. I thought Tisano was gonna be, like, Italian. Now that I know it's Japanese, you're my new best friend. I have I have a
少しわかりま
severe
すか?
well, I mean, I have a severe love for Japanese culture. I wanna get like, I have a very base level understanding of it. Obviously, I'm a little too independent for some of the Japanese cultures, and I recognize that, like, I don't wanna be one of those people like, "Oh, Japanese culture is so cool." It's like, "No, no, I want you guys to be clear. They're very conservative in their family practices, depending, right?" That's how the whole Harajuku girl thing kinda came forth anyways. It was a stark contrast to the very, like, constricted being of Japanese culture. Japanese culture has evolved. Also, Japan is the cleanest country in the world. And we all just talked about my anxieties, so but no, there's just something about it that's been fascinating, but
Yeah.
I
I
also
have
love your multi-dimension of gaming
mm,
because I think
so,
that that's also really cool.
yeah.
Um, but while we're talking about it, which dimension where we're talking about tabletop, card, video gaming, all other forms of gaming, where do you see the most issues in? I'm gonna jump and say I think it's tabletop.
I oh, I think that there is a lot. Okay. So, here's like my sliding scale. I think that there's a broad problem
Mhm.
in video gaming. I think there's a lot of toxicity that has come out of video gaming in
Mhm.
its entirety, and
Mhm.
like that's pervasive that the image we get when we say video games is a person swearing at a screen and possibly throwing a controller like it is they're like in my spheres in my perspective I have
Yeah.
seen unfortunately the meme is that you know what do people sometimes call, they soften something by calling them gamer words, and I'm like, please no, dear God, I do not want that reputation. But like, okay, but I will say, to validate your concerns, I see the most brigading and the most concern for issues come up through tabletop. So I will say it's gotten better. I
Mhm.
love the gaming world's reception to, I I saw, from my limited lens and perspective, I saw an embracing of Abria when she took the head of Critical Role, and I was like, yes, beautiful. What's up?
Critical Role.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
When it comes across my TikTok, I'm so geeked. Oh, I love watching the
Can
clips.
can have you seen Wayne Brady as Tyrion Darrington in the latest in Vox Machina? I was
Okay, so the way that I'm gonna like, while we're talking about this, I'm gonna describe. So I grew up in the African American culture,
yeah,
and African Americans can be very limited in their thinking of what's socially acceptable. We
okay,
have grown from that. But, like, when I grew up, like, watching anime and liking Japanese culture was like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you trying to be white?" Right? Like, I got teased endlessly for it, and now I get to watch my friends' kids grow up, and watching anime is just a thing. Like, it's a massive thing. Same, like, I don't know what it is about, like, the Black culture and trying to be cool. I think that's a big part of it, is that there's this need to be cool, and so anything that's viewed as, like, not cool is basically pushed away, or, like, um, differing from what the societal norm of the identity of. So, like, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was growing up, right? Fucking love Yu-Gi-Oh!
hell yeah,
Um, I'm such a nerd. I had a dual deck, for the ARM.
yeah,
Was in St. Thomas, me and my brother just being like, "Let's do," like, we're kids.
yeah.
But, like, tabletop games, D&D, Magic, all those things were things that I avoided because that was just, like, too nerdum, and I could only be so far. So I think that some of it is, like, video games are socially acceptable, so you have a wider range, which also invites people to be more socially unacceptable in the way that they speak to people. But I
Yeah.
think that, like, card games, tabletop games have been a little bit more like the golf, if I could say, of gaming.
Oh,
I
that
don't wanna say
hurt,
golf.
but at the same
I'm
I
only
don't
using golf as, like, exclusivity, like, a lot of people don't get in, for, like,
yeah.
people who don't understand, like, the gaming. To me, it's just been, like, video games is something that's like the NBA, the basketball, everybody's kinda getting into it. Tennis, let's use tennis. Card games and stuff like that is more like tennis, where it takes a little bit more effort to get into. And I don't know if you've kind of seen that. I know that it's changing. But I said all that to say, finding out that people like Wayne Brady and, Vin Diesel are, like, super nerds are the best thing I've ever found out in my life.
Yeah. So, I hope I will, Blake, I'll make the recommendation when you have time, put
Okay.
on the Vox Machina animated series, because it's fantastic. And they actually, so like, what, I don't know if I lucked out and I dodged the bullet, but the reason I bring up Terry and Darrington is because I was thrilled in the
Mhm,
best way possible to find out that Tyrion started out a white character played by Sam Riegel at the table, Scanlan Shorthalt.
mhm,
And then they went and they cast Wayne Brady, and his character, I feel, and I would love the judgment of other people with broader perspectives,
mhm,
that the change that they made to Tyrion Darrington was great for representation and just well handled. And
mhm,
I'd love to hear otherwise if that's the truth. But I looked at it and I was like, this is awesome. I love the character arc. I loved like everything about it. And I was like, this is what we need. Because as you see like Abrea and other people like oh god, I forget her name. Erica, she did the ghost for she did the voice for a very Asian centric voice. I'm gonna get roasted in the comments for not just knowing this because Erica's like tabletop royalty, and the fact that I don't know who she was, Erica
You're
Ishii.
fine.
Um, seeing all these different people and voices in tabletop is fantastic.
Yes.
I want this. I saw recently there's like in Magic the Gathering, which I
Mhm.
would also honestly lump into tabletop, there is a lack of female voices.
Mhm.
And then I saw recently Liz of Lorwyn, who is a Michigan-based creator, come up into the Magic space and be welcomed and
Wait, no.
embraced. Yeah. So all of this to get at is I ultimately want to see a broader and more diverse tapestry in gaming because it adds different stories and perspectives, and then we get more comfortable about those dynamics. We break down barriers through storytelling and by
Mhm.
welcoming more people to the table. So
Yes.
why the hell are we not concerned with the composition of the tables?
Yes.
Like even okay, if you have to have an overly pale table, make sure like if for some reason you cannot find, which is like this strikes me as a little bit of we didn't put in the effort kind of
Yeah.
situation. But
Mhm.
if you have an overly pale table, the very least you can do is involve women, involve people who have let's say queer voices, involve people like myself who are of mixed heritages and backgrounds, and make sure that the table is diverse some way shape or form, and I would prefer to see more color at the tables. I would absolutely prefer that. I also understand the difficulty in I understand the difficulty in some audiences may not resonate, and therefore if you're aiming for economic success, like okay, I'll like admit that's kind of like a harder thing. However, now with Abrea being at the head of Critical Role, I see no more fucking excuse not to have more people like that. I don't see it anymore. Like I don't see the excuse not to have a more diverse table.
I
So
think, one of the things you said that I love was that gaming is storytelling, and people miss that. And like, even when you play NBA 2K, there's a story mode that they create now because they realize that the games that are more successful are games that you can fully immerse yourself into the story, right? The story of our world is diverse in general. And being able to show that that's what I do in my books, right? Like being able to show that in storytelling is so fucking important. And there are lots of studies, like taking it to an economical stance, that companies do better when they have diverse CEOs or C-suites, because then they're able to reach a bigger demographic. And if you think there aren't people there, my cousin runs the D&D on Island for Blurds. By the way, if you guys don't know what a blurred is, it's a black nerd. She runs a D&D on Island for Blurds. I don't know if she's still doing her online one, but she was doing her online one, and that wasn't getting a lot of traction. But that happens when you first, start. Online D&D is hard to because it's all about kind of like the community. Now, I'm
yeah.
not a D&D'er myself, so like if I say anything wrong, don't come for me. I just am surrounded by people who D&D. I've watched a session. I think it's cool. I don't know if I think I'm way too self-conscious of myself right now to fully get into it. There has to be a level, which is beautiful. Theater people should really actually get into D&D. I mean, that's what you see with Critical Role, right? So Critical Role, for those who don't know, it started off as these sets of celebrity actors and actresses, whether they do physical, like in your face acting or voice acting or both, coming together and D&Ding. It's fascinating because they have that background. They really get into it. And to really enjoy D&D, you have to really get into that character. Um, and that's why it's so I don't know if I have that in me anymore. I'm a little too self-conscious. I'm working on breaking down those barriers, but I love watching it. It really is because these are, you know, the world is being kind of controlled by your dungeon master, which my cousin is. The level of evil that she has as a dungeon master is hilarious. Hilarious. Guys, if you can go follow her, I think it's like Hello Nidas on social media, freaking hilarious. Her level of like, she loves to play games with them, but it's so, I love watching it and I love watching like diverse. And then my sister, she was just telling me that she's in a poly relationship, which is again another form of representation. And they do D&D nights with their friends and they were hosting it. And I'm like, this is in a world where we feel so separate from everybody, having things like this that can bring us together and feel connected is so important. But when you don't allow for diversity, you're gatekeeping and preventing people from experiencing this community, but you're also preventing yourself from learning about other communities.
Yeah, yeah. Because like I didn't know. So I did know the term blurred because I someone one of my friends very tongue in cheek
Mhm.
suggested that I should go booth at BlurredCon, and I was like, I mean,
Pick
like,
me with
there was
okay.
they did it to ruffle my feathers and to be like, not to make me like angry, but to sit
Yeah.
there and like watch me stew in the 7/8 white guilt that I have. Like they were just like, I
Seven eight.
well, grandpa's half, mom's a quarter. So anyway, it was really funny. Just like I was like, I don't know whether that's a compliment or whether I should be concerned of taking an opportunity away from someone in that community instead. So I was kind of like, they watched me short circuit and they had fun with it. They're like, what? Let's watch him implode. Let's sit back and watch him
Look,
have an anxiety attack over this.
you'll be the token white person, okay?
Ah! Yeah, there we go. There we go. There's the yeah. Uh, so so anyway, um, oh man. But one of the things, so okay, so one of the things I kind of want to, I that I like mentally pinned
Mhm.
was, and that might be someone telling me to stop slamming on my desk because they're super concerned. Okay, no, it was not. So, what I wanted to give to you, Blake, in terms of like doing D&D and like approaching it, the best thing I can do is take the best like advice I can give, and this is what every D&D player does with whether or not they realize it, is they take the most damaged, like ignored portion of themselves and
Mhm.
they make a character out of it, subconsciously or otherwise.
Mhm.
And so my first character came out of this place of like, this is all my anger about the injustices that my mother saw at the hands of my father. I'm going to
Mhm.
make him the biggest, angriest mama's boy on the face of the planet, and I am going to give him a giant sword. I talked with my DM about this, that contains the remnants or soul of his dead mother, and then he is going to be a uh angry cleric at the hands of a god that lets him forge things by pulling them out of pools of lava, and
Mhm.
like, and he heals people by taking like, the party met him in the most horrific circumstance where he was in a gothic hamlet town that was beset by monsters, and he was the triage cleric, and they run up to what is basically a triage, like a triage tent set up
Mhm.
by the stables, and they're like, why is the farrier's forge going? And they walk into this like big angry guy with these fiery red veins through him, going like, bring me more iron pokers. And he's like taking the iron pokers and cauterizing field wounds. And they're like, that's your cleric? That's horrifying. Like, so, and that was the party's introduction to him joining up, and on was like, here's this big angry, like, it's just son of a bitch. And they just realized that no, he's angry at the injustices he sees in the world, and that's
Mhm.
where all of this is coming from. The second character was more whimsical, but then eventually turned dark. He played on he was a satyr with a Scottish Highlands accent kind of thing going. And he more played on the darker sides of kind of what do you do about the very slippery addict who's still like functional and useful to you, but is like obviously has a very fraught
Not the
relationship with drugs? Yeah,
accents.
I would do all these different accents and voices for them, and like that was a really interesting story of like his name was Willio Clovenstride, and he was really really fun to play, and just kind of slip in and out of, and that was more more that was like he more dealt with the trauma of not my own addiction but the justification and excuses I made for my father's addictions,
Yeah.
and like that was what Willio was exploring whether or not I realized it.
Oh my god,
and
we have
and
so
so
much to talk about our family history.
so to spin this back to
Mhm.
like how does this all come back to diversity in gaming is because now you have people who can talk about and deal with different traumas, be it generational, be it from race-based traumas, be it from community-based, be it from familial traumas. They now have an outlet to tell these stories that might expose and broaden the perspectives of others and make the tapestry that much more rich if we only allowed people to get these stories out, and not allowing them in the first place is silencing and stifling these stories, which is a damn shame and something that I'm horrendously angry about. So
I it's so interesting because you and I are from different mediums, right? Although we have a lot more in common. We gotta chat. We
yeah,
gotta keep in touch. Um, but the interesting thing is that we whether you're in the gaming medium or for me in the author sphere, um, we're trying to do the same thing. And you're right, like storytelling has to be more diverse. And the fact that we gatekeep, whether we gatekeeping in gaming, because it's being gatekeep there, but it's also being gatekeep in publishing for authors. We're not allowing these diverse stories to get published. It's the same story. And I think that's one of the things I want everyone to understand. And I want this to be understood like cross like diverse people, right? You and I, whether you may look it or not, can share the same stories about growing up and people maybe treating us differently based on those things. And if you and I can come together, we create like a super mecca of minority and then we can take our super mecha and then bring more people in, and we can just like D&D fight all the injustices and make a world where storytelling and creating is diverse for everyone. I think, to speak for myself, one of the things I dislike about the African American culture sometimes is we're so self-focused. Fair, understandable because we've experienced these injustice, but we get it in our head that we're the only ones who've been done wrong or our wrongs are the most. And I don't like to play the game of right and wrongs or most and whatever, because everybody forgets. And I say this all the time and I'm going to keep saying it. Everybody forgets that America had an entire Japanese/Asian internment camp during World War II that no one talks about. Nobody talks about the book that was Killers of the Flower Moon about the way they were killing indigenous people for their oil rights. No one talks about that. Trail of Tears, nobody talks about that. How the police brutality affects Mexican and Hispanic males. Nobody talks about that. You know what I mean? And I'm going to because I think that an injustice to one of us is an injustice to all of us.
yes,
And I want more people to and I the same way in our different spheres. An injustice to me in my storytelling sphere is an injustice to you in your storytelling sphere. And that's why I created the creatives group because a lot of people are like, "Are you just gonna have writers?" And I'm like, "No, I want to have a broad focus of creative people who do all kinds of things because you'd be surprised how their things can influence your things and how we're all trying to get the same thing done even though we're use different mediums."
yeah. We're all out here trying to work where we're most comfortable, and because I think I said this to a boss one day when
Mhm,
I said like even if we move to a post scarcity economy where like no one necessarily needs money, you still social capital is still important. What
mhm.
we're good at and where like our skills and our purpose in life is still going to be very much at the focus of it. It's not the jobs we do that like I mean it is in a sense, but like it's not what I'm trying to get at what I'm trying to say, but, like, it's still going to be important if we take money out of the picture, what we do, and we'll still need to do the work of realizing that we are not different at or that different from one another. Like, we will still regardless of money, we'll still need to do that.
Yes.
I'm finding myself in violent agreement and wanting to just go off at the mouth about it because that's, like that's who I am a lot of the times.
Mhm.
My friends play a game called Don't Get Me Started, where they just like we choose a topic and someone in the car will go off about it because it's their special interest.
My
So
gosh, that needs to be I need more friends like your friends because let me tell you, my mom is just like, "You're a time bomb. I can mention a topic and then you just go off." And I'm like, "Yes, because this is a" and then she's like, "Ch chill." And I'm because 'cause I'm very passionate, and honestly, I think we need more passionate people in the world. I'm tired of us telling passionate people that they're too much. That's stupid. We're the people that are gonna actually make change happen, so suck it up. But we are coming up to our end, unfortunately, which is sad because 'cause I've enjoyed this. You have to come back on the
I have a
podcast
lot.
anytime
I
you want.
absolutely will. So
Um, I wanna give a highlight to your work, your
okay,
woodworking business, because I think it's fantastic. First of
thank
all,
you.
ignoring the saying about me saying that when you have wood in your house, it absorbs humidity, that's just a fact. I love woodworking things. I can't afford, like, full woodworking things because if you guys don't know, it's stupid expensive, but, like, half of you can't see my desk, but half of it is, like, fake wood things, like, I have a fake wood crate. That might actually be a real wood crate. That one looks like a real wood crate because real wood crates are it's like the cheapest wood you can get, really.
Yeah,
It's like a pallet, you know? Pallets are really cheap if you guys don't know. Like, buying a pallet is expensive, but just getting the wood from a pallet yard is hella cheap. Quickest way to be able to build something is just go to like, a establishment, like, a and be like, "Hey, can I get your pallets?" And they're always trying to get rid of them, so they're like, "Yeah, you could build
go ahead,
crazy." I have
go
a pallet
nuts.
board bed. You can build crazy shit out of a pallet board. But your woodworking stuff is fantastic. We
Thank you, Blake.
still have the one that Mouthfire still has the one that we bought from you, the, dice what is it? The thing that you throw
The
dice
little
into?
dice, the snack bowl and the dice
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
We still have that. We still
Oh,
use it. Your woodworking is fantastic,
thank you.
and I want more people, obviously you have your passions and everything like that, but your business is also something that I think is amazing, and the way that you run it with integrity and morality, and for you guys don't know, we were talking about this project we're working on together. Thomas reached out to me, was like, "Hey, your life looks like it's in shambles." It was. "Let's work on a project together to, like, give you something,"
Yeah,
and it was, like, so meaningful to me because, 1, someone saw that I was, like, going through it, but it also was like, "Oh, someone still believes in the things that I'm doing," and I legitimately believe like, I wish I could have brought my cousin to you so that she could see it, and, like, next time I can get her out here, she's gonna have no choice, I'm gonna bring her because your work is fantastic.
thank you. So I will say I've moved studio. I still work out of MakerWorks, but
Okay.
I've moved, I just it was the end of my time at that other studio you visited, and so I
Mhm.
gracefully bowed out.
I think I
Uh,
saw something about, like, you getting the new studio on social media.
yep. So I have a studio in Jackson now that allows me to do a bunch of industrial what? What are you gonna
No, it's not funny, but it's funny. My house that I don't live in anymore was in
Oh,
Jackson.
I am okay. I'm down. I have a new the new studio is in something called the Sparks.
Okay,
Used to be the Commercial Exchange, and
okay.
there's a gentleman there who is trying his best to make it a small business incubator kind of historic restoration project all in one. So I will be able to do a lot more there, and that's also part of the reason why I wasn't able to get to those book birds is because I have I am constantly throwing myself into projects that I have no right nor bandwidth for. Yeah, you get the so that's why I said it's a guilty round to it, unfortunately. Like
It's okay.
yeah.
It just gives
So
me a reason to go to Jackson. Have
yep.
you been to the comic book/game store in Jackson?
I have not, but I will make it a visit.
No, you have
I
to.
will I will yes, I will make it a
It's
visit.
downtown. I cannot for the love of me remember the name. It's an old establishment. The first half is comic books and manga. The second half is fully committed to tabletop gaming and card gaming, and they run games in the back of the place.
Nice. So I will also say that, so like how I'm trying to run the business,
Mhm,
Blake, just to like kind of like peel back the curtain for some, and like, oh, it's one thing to talk a big game about integrity running a business, and it's great coming from you and not me. But at the same time, because that means like someone else also believes this. Um,
mhm,
so what I do and like the different ways that I give back is 5 to 10% of my inventory, not my revenue, my inventory
mhm,
goes directly to charitable causes to either raffle off, do giveaways, to like activate people to get them interested in. I give a lot of the time to streamers doing initiatives, charitable initiatives. I give to streamers that are doing aka good chaos, or creating online third spaces for the marginalized.
mhm,
Um, and then I also do my best to foster third spaces in real space by giving my works on commission to game stores. So
mhm.
Opal Grove Games in downtown Detroit is one of my newest ones that I'm going to be having inventory with. They're fantastic,
Ooh,
minority and female owned. Then there's Are You Game in Celine, and then I am also signing contracts with the Upkeep, which has stores in Howell, Canton, and Ann Arbor.
mhm,
So, and I give them that so that they can keep, like, I grew up in a card shop. And so I want other people to have the experience of, I can go to this card shop. It is a safe place. It is a well supported place by the community. I want that to continue to be there and be a resource for other people.
mhm.
So,
I love it. I'm trying to be like you when I grow up. But I mean, I guess I do my indie author stuff and I try to make spaces for that. But I love businesses that are like, okay, I have this. How can I help? Um, and I mean, when I say integrity, I mean, I don't find a lot of people don't make fun of me. I'm British sometimes. So I say integral. I've learned this. I don't, there was something else I said earlier and I can't remember what it was on the Maslow's pyramid. And I said it a certain way. And my mom is like, why do you, first I say deity
okay.
instead of deity. Or do I say deity instead of deed? I'm one of those. I can't remember. When I think about how I say it, then I can't say it. But I say integral. And I don't find a lot of people in this world integral enough. So like when I say it, I truly fucking mean it. Like I want that to
Thank
be
you.
very clear. Um, and saying that, I want everybody to know where they can find you.
Oh,
So drop
okay.
your link so they know.
So have to send that to you, but you can find me at all on social media. It's either at Tusano Trading Co. or it's TusanoTradingCo.com. And I
Mhm,
have like a link tree in most of my social profiles where you can find the website and everything else. And
mhm.
I do gaming on Twitch as Tusano_gaming so that people know that that's what that is for. So,
Like
yeah.
it goes into you got to get all your stuff to feed into each other.
Yes, you got to get everything to talk to each other and come online and like, yes, and work with all of it.
Yes.
Absolutely. So,
Yes. All right, Thomas, thank you so much. Like I said, we're gonna
thank
have to
you.
catch up. I'm gonna have to go to Jackson and hang out with you. There's a good
Absolutely. Once,
there there's some breweries in Jackson too. So
okay.
there actually is a very well-known brewery called Agma, and like Mothfire loves Agma, and
Okay.
I think you would really like it inside of there.
Ooh, okay.
So we'll make a plan to go to Agma together, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Blake.
Thank
Thank you so much.
n- no, thank you for joining me. Thank you guys for listening. And until next time, bye guys.
Bye.
Gabby Gabs podcast.